It is early September, and that means our first frost is very near. In fact, I think it's going to be a little early this year. I think we're going to be dipping down to 32 degrees this week, so we have a lot of work to do. First, we're going to be starting on tearing down the high tunnel, since that's where most of the delicate vegetables are, and then we'll be working later this week outside. Today we're going to try to get to all of the peppers. We're going to be freezing the peppers, and we are going to be picking our tomatillos because we have to make salsa out of those. And we also have to pick all of the unripe tomatoes, which is really unfortunate because like none of them ripened in the high tunnel this year, just with the wet, cooler summer we've had. And we have to have them in the cabin for about a month while they ripen. It's definitely one of the downsides to living in Alaska, at least in the area we're at. We found that tomatoes are just a so-so crop here. I mean, they do okay, but just compared to other parts of the world, they do a lot better there. I'm also going to be picking some nasturtium for tea. We've let all of the flowers go really late this year because of the season. I wanted to have lots of blooms and, pollen and nectar for the bees. They're in fact still coming in and out to get some of that. So we're going to get started and see what we can get done today.
This year we decided we were going to freeze our bell peppers. We ended up with a bunch of vacuum pack bags out in the freezer, and our salsa is also done for this year. We ended up with 14 pints, and Arielle and I agree that this is probably the best salsa we have ever made. Something we did different with it this year is we roasted the tomatillos, the tomatoes, and the peppers, and then we just basically did our normal salsa recipe, but roasting those things really made a huge difference. Stuff's awesome. We've also been getting a lot of questions about where we're going to be putting all this canned food, since we don't have the root cellar anymore, and that's right over here. So this is what we're going to be using. It kind of sucks because we live in a small cabin and this thing takes up a lot of room, but yes, we are going to be storing all of our canned food inside the cabin this winter. We built this the other day and it holds about 300 jars, and we are going to keep on canning, and we're going to have a lot more than 300 jars, so we're going to have to figure out somewhere to keep the rest of our stuff.
One thing we still have left to can is our tomato sauce, and our tomatoes are clearly inside of our cabin. They're in the process of ripening. And we also have our onions curing inside here. We've had lots of rain, and we've also had several frosts, so nothing really can stay outside anymore. So we're drying everything in here, herbs and all of that. And like Eric mentioned, we do have a small space in here, so it's not really ideal to have all of this in here. but it's just this time of the year and it works. We did it last year. I was really shocked that these tomatoes will actually ripen. We'll probably get 75% of them to ripen in here. There's a batch I have back here that they've already turned red in just a few days. And we put those in the freezer until we're ready to process them. Last year, we had about a third of our tomatoes ripen on the vine, but this year it was under 5%. So really didn't work out that well this year. We are going to head back out to the garden because we have quite a bit more work to do out there. This is what the outdoor garden looks like right now. Lots of things are damaged from the frost. We didn't have a very good year with corn and winter squash, but there's still lots of things that are going to be left after today. You know, we can leave a lot of our greens up, the Brussels sprouts, the perennials, cabbage, potatoes, celery, leeks. A lot of that still needs to be harvested. We're also going to be prepping the bed that we're planting our garlic in, cleaning out the chicken coop, and actually planting the garlic. Very exciting. So I am going to get started. Hey, show the chickens the corn. Maybe they'll eat it too. Sorry.
Yeah, I'll pick a couple off one.
I guess I can put small stuff like that.
Since the corn doesn't really break down the compost pile very fast here, we have this little lean-to that we built for the chickens, and last year we took the corn stalks, put them on here, and it kind of creates a little shelter for them. They can hide from predators and they can kind of keep out of the rain and the snow. So that's what we're doing with the corn again this year. We're just gonna kind of pile on top.
Oh, did you hear that?
Yeah.
That's a broccoli.
Damn.
Look at that.
Oh.
It's like the size of a... That's one broccoli plant. Sorry, I didn't mean to roll it over you. That's crazy. Yeah, that is too. The stuff in the middle is the thin stuff. This is greenhouse plastic.
Cool.
It would have lasted longer. Now that we're taking everything down, we can see, you know, a lot of bare soil, and we have a lot of these mushrooms that grow different kinds, actually, all different kinds, which is awesome. That just means our soil is a little more on the acidic end. We also found something cool on the other side of the garden that I wanted to show you guys. This year the plan was to save some of our own seed, but being that it was a really wet year, I didn't really get a lot of pods and things drying out on their own. We did plant some onions just experimentally to see what would happen, and shallots. And the onions made seed, but the shallots actually made more shallots, which is awesome. So I'm gonna be digging these up and we're gonna be storing them. Really cool. That was just one shallot that turned into 6. Yeah. I'm working on getting the garlic bread prepared, and the soil looks really good already. It's really nice, light, fluffy soil. I'm just gonna add a little more dirt to the row, and then we're gonna be adding some chicken litter to give the garlic a boost. Sounded real nice, huh? Did you say that's the black one?
Yeah.
Woo! You can be like a kid playing in this stuff, huh? Sorry, that was really exciting there. We're ready to start planting our garlic. We are growing about 10 different varieties this year. Several of them are new to us. We ordered from a company based in Washington and we're super excited about them. They're beautiful cloves. But we're first going to get started planting some of this garlic that we grew last year and harvested this year. I would normally like to use more of the garlic that we grew to plant, but since we had some more losses than I accounted for this spring, I just had to order some to make sure we had enough. We really like some of the varieties that we grew last year, but we're still in the process of determining which ones provide the best for us, have the biggest yield and are the hardiest. We're growing all hardneck varieties of garlic, and they do better here. They're more appropriate for the colder climate. They send up a scape in the spring or summer, and you can chop that off and eat it, and then it sends the energy back down to the bulb. Many of the hardneck garlics have these thick, chunky cloves, which is awesome. We really like them. And they also typically have less cloves in a whole head compared to softneck garlic. Each little planting hole is about 5 inches apart from each other. And I'm gonna get started because I have a lot to do. These are like this because they're fresh, but the other one should be easier. Here, let's just throw the stalks to the side. This is one of the varieties I was very excited about. It's music. We've never grown it, and the clove is just huge. It reminds me of elephant garlic, and I would have bought more, but I could only get a pound. Those are cool. I like that.
Yeah.
Nice. I mean, really, when would you need a bigger size cloves than that? Those are massive, aren't they? We're almost finished. We planted about 200 cloves, and we have a whole bunch of little ones left that we saved. I believe that these will make much smaller garlic heads. In fact, these may be more prone to rotting too. So we saved all of them to plant right at the end. We're gonna come back along, layer some soil, and then we're gonna be adding some manure on top of that since we want them to be about 4 inches deep. And then on top of that, we're going to be layering with mulch. And we like to do really heavy mulch with straw. We usually do like a good maybe 10 inches or so. So that helps them get through the winter.
Since we're almost done out in the garden today, we have a great dinner planned. And I actually found some Yellowfoot Chanterelle mushrooms on our property the other day, but I picked them all and ate them. We're gonna go back behind our property and see if we can find some more, and we're gonna cook up a good dinner. Well, we've just left the house. We got the dogs with us, and we're already scoring. We got some of these beautiful Yellowfoot Chanterelles, and these are actually probably my favorite mushroom that we found here. My second favorite is probably the morel, but these ones, for some reason, I don't know, they just have really good flavor. So I've already got some in my bag full. We got to stop by the bees because Arielle's going to give them some sugar water. All right, now we're heading out to go find mushrooms, even though we already found a bunch just on our property, but we're hoping to get some bigger ones, so let's see what we can find. We found birch polypore. It's not a chanterelle, and this is not what we're looking for. We actually have a bunch of this at home already that we make tea out of, but nice to know we got some of this back here, and they usually grow on dead birch trees.
We walked all the way out here and we've yet to find what we are looking for. We have probably found 40 different kinds of mushrooms, which is not the one we're after. We saw them here 2 years ago. Last year it was dry, and this year we're just having a super wet summer, so it's great for the mushrooms. They're just popping up everywhere. A little bit early for these, but we were hoping to find them since we found so many on our property. So at least we have something to cook tonight, but we're gonna keep looking.
Well, we made it back over to our bog, and it seems like this is where the mushrooms are at, so we don't have to go far to get them. So we're gonna pick a few more. I've already found a bunch. I don't know if you can see that, but that's way more than a meal's worth. So we're gonna be eating good tonight.
So these are just everywhere back here, and they get a lot bigger. We're just leaving all the small ones so we can come back in a few weeks because they really do get a lot bigger and then you have more to eat. They have those nice ridges underneath them, and they're called Yellowfoot because usually the stem's like a yellow, but ours is not. Ours is more like a golden color, more of an orange color. And we are air drying the extras that we have, and then we're just storing them in some mason jars, and they actually smell like an aged cheese. That's not quite what they taste like. They almost have like a nutty flavor, but they're really delicious. Definitely one of our favorites. Hey, Bo. Got mosquitoes on them.
So we're just nailing these mushrooms back here. We're doing awesome. 2 reasons I like finding wild mushrooms. First is it's like a treasure hunt. When you find these things, it's awesome. It's like finding gold. And second, these things have so much flavor. It's just insane for cooking, and you don't have to start this from a seed. You just got to go out in the woods and find them. So love picking these mushrooms. Bo, you done? You going out for the night?
Like a sausage.
I'm unconscious. We have a great dinner planned for tonight. We're having a moose roast, and I'm gonna cook that pretty much the same way you would cook a tri-tip if you're doing that inside. I'm gonna sear it in a cast iron skillet, and then it's gonna go in the oven for about 20 minutes. On top of that, we're gonna do some sauteed chanterelle mushrooms, some garlic, and some onion, and then Arielle made a nice loaf of bread to go with that. First thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get a bunch of herbs chopped up, put some olive oil on our meat, and we're gonna kind of make a rub for our meat with that. So for herbs, we're using thyme, sage, and a little bit of oregano. We're going to do salt and pepper. And then this is some dried rosemary and tarragon from last season. That meat's going to sear for about, 3 to 4 minutes on each side, get it nice and crispy, and then it's going to go in the oven at about 375 degrees until it reaches an internal temperature of about 150 degrees. We like our meat medium well, so that's what we're going for. We're gonna get started on preparing our mushrooms, and we're gonna cook those in olive oil with a nice big onion and reclose the garlic. Just getting these mushrooms cleaned up a little bit, and I want to show you guys what these look like when they're dried. These are the ones we got last week. They definitely shrink down a lot, but you just add a little water to these and they rehydrate, and they're great. The meat's gonna rest for 10 minutes. That gives us just enough time to cook our mushrooms, our garlic, and our onions. I'm gonna use the same pan that piece of meat just came out of because there's a lot of flavor in there. The only thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add a little bit of vinegar to there first. Well guys, it's been another great day around the cabin. We are starving, we're gonna eat, and we hope you enjoyed this episode, and we will see you next time.